What's going on, beautiful people? Thank you for tuning in once again. You guys already know the message. One family, one love, one heart. We're all in this journey in earth together. All of us gotta help one another. This is the point of me making these videos. I am you, you're me, and then you see this book. This book is you, and it's also me, and then everybody around here is also you and me. We're all on this journey together, different manifestations of the same source energy, without too much ranting. I want to talk about how to do shrooms and LSD if you're interested. Actually, I should probably start this video with a disclaimer before I even talk about this. So disclaimer, I do not endorse the use of any psychoactive substances, legal or illegal. This video is made strictly for purpose and informational content. It is not endorsing the use of any legal or illegal psychoactive substances, okay? You do your own research. Always do your own research and do everything responsibly. And if you're gonna already do them, be responsible about their use. So, how to do shrooms and LSD. And there is, I think, 4 major things that I want to talk about here. 4 factors that will largely determine how good or a bad of a trip you're gonna have, okay? And you should take all 4 very seriously. Before you even try LSD, before you try mushrooms or any psychoactive substance, any psychedelic substance, ask yourself, why do I want to try this? Why do I want to do this? You know, do I want to do it just for recreational purposes, or do I feel like there's something more that I want to do? Because the intent of which you're going into the trip is going to largely determine how good or bad your trip is. Okay? So that's what they call set. What is your mind set? What are you set on? Like, are you just gonna do it and just go and you just want to do it recreationally, have fun? Or do you want to learn something about yourself? Maybe you want to deal with some issue from the past. Because look, depending on the dose, because it's all dose dependent, a trip, a mushroom or LSD trip at a therapeutic dose, you will face whatever it is that you need to face. It'll bring it up out of you. If you have repressed emotions, like one time, I made a video about it previously, one of my mushroom trips, I cried for like 30-40 minutes rivers because I missed my mom, and I repressed those emotions of missing her and those tears, right? So it'll bring up anything you have to the surface. So if your mindset is to say, hey, look, I want to learn about myself, I want to like dig deeper and see what is it that I need to work on, what emotions do I have that may be repressed, etc., etc. So if your mindset is that of learning, is that of personal development, is that of self-improvement, then step 1 is good. You're good to go. Okay? You're gonna do it just for fun, just for recreation. You might have a fun time and all, but then what? Ask yourself, then what? Right? So it helps if you already are very like aware and you do self-development and you're aware of your mind and your body and you're more conscious, right? And you have, maybe if you have meditative experience, if you meditate, if you take cold showers, and if you're just like more conscious, you're more conscious of yourself and your surroundings, and you're always trying to improve, it really tremendously helps. So the set, in my opinion, should be that of learning and self-improvement and self-development, and once the trip is over, you should be digging deep and saying, what have I learned? Because you'll learn a lot if that's your set. That's number 1. Number 2, your setting. All right, because what happens when you take one of these psychedelic substances is that you bond with everything, right? You become, in a weird way, especially if you go with like a higher dose, which we'll talk about those later, in a weird way, you become your environment, and you become everything and everyone in your environment, right? So if you are in a shitty environment, in a negative environment, in an environment that you're not comfortable in, you have to be comfortable. You're probably gonna have a bad trip because you're gonna take on your environment, because you will realize, these substances make you realize that you are your environment. Separation is an illusion. Separation is an illusion, that everything's connected. And if you're in a negative environment, there's like you're probably gonna have a bad trip. There's a good chance you're gonna have a bad trip. And when I say negative, I mean something that doesn't make you feel comfortable, right? If it doesn't make you feel comfortable, you want to be in a comfortable environment. For me, a comfortable environment is somewhere in nature, away from people, preferably, okay? Because people might trip you out because you're in a whole different reality, and the whole way you see the world is different, so people might very well trip you out. So it's best to do it in a comfortable environment, period. See whatever's comfortable for you. For me, it's always nature. I've tried to do it at home a couple of times, wasn't comfortable. I didn't like it. I personally didn't like it. So then now I stick to doing it in nature because I feel very comfortable, very safe. I take on the environment, I take on the trees and the flowers, and I feel super good, and I start laughing and just jumping up and down and really feeling euphoric because of my environment, because I am part of my environment, I am my environment's me. So that's number 2. Very important that you do it somewhere you're comfortable. Number 3, supervision and having a trip sitter is very good, especially for beginners. All right, so it's best if you're a beginner, in my opinion, my humble opinion, to do it with someone who's done it before, who knows their way around these substances, and who can, if the trip is going south and it's going negative, can sort of take it positive. And if, say, you forget everything because you might just forget where you are or anything, and the trip sitter can come in and help you. Right? So if, for example, you lost your bag, which happened to me before, then the trip sitter can keep an eye on these things, right? And can take you home if need be or whatever, right? The more you become experienced with it, you will start to not need the trip sitter, okay? But definitely, if you're a first timer, you've never done it before, it's best to find yourself a trip sitter, somebody to do it with, somebody that's gonna take care of you, not somebody that's gonna get loaded with you, but somebody that's gonna help you, that's gonna watch over you, and somebody positive, somebody you trust, somebody you're comfortable with. So if things are, the trip is going negative, somebody you're comfortable even crying in front of, laughing in front of, right? If you're not comfortable with crying in front of that person, get somebody you're more comfortable with, okay? Because you gotta be comfortable. Whatever's coming up in you want to express it. If you don't express it, that's where it goes south. Like if you feel like you need to cry in a trip and you don't cry, that's when anxiety happens here, repressed emotions, the trip goes south, okay? So a trip sitter, and then number 4 and 5. 4, you want to surrender to the trip, meaning you just say, take me wherever you want to take me. If you resist it, that's when bad trips happen. Surrender to it. Don't have any expectations. Expectations will kill the trip, all right? Just be like, I want to do it and see where it takes me. And if it brings tears out of me, great. If it brings joy out of me, great. If it gives me these epiphanies and realizations, great. If it's a bad trip, great. Whatever. Surrender to it, and the more you surrender to it, the more it's gonna be gentle towards you. The more it's gonna be kind to you. Surrender to it. Let it do its thing with you. All right. Especially with like mushrooms, because like the mushroom has a spirit. Right, so it'll be gentle on you if you surrender to it and you say, hey, all power to you, you do what you want with me. Number 5, dose. So for a first timer, again, go low. Don't try to be Superman, don't try to be superhuman, don't let your ego get in the way and say, no, I can take this. I would start, God, these are just numbers off on top of my head. But if you're gonna do mushrooms and it's your first time, I would do anywhere between 1.5 and 2 grams. 1.5 is good if you're not comfortable. 2, I wouldn't push it past 2 if you're a beginner. For LSD, depending on the tab, but let's say the tab is 125 micrograms, I would probably cut it in half and take half a tab and see how things. I mean, you can always do another trip, right? So you want to start slow. So like I'd probably go with half a tab, like half a good tab, 125 micrograms or 100 micrograms. Go half of that. I would go 1.5 to 2 grams of mushrooms. I really would even go on the lower end because you can just do it a few weeks later, right? And you can get a little taste of it and you can get more comfortable with it. So yeah, it's always better be safe. So once again, let me recap these 5 key things to having a good trip, a productive trip, something you're gonna learn from. First thing first, your mindset should be that of improvement, self-development, learning. Number two is your setting. You want to have an environment that you're comfortable with, because you're gonna blend into your environment, and your environment's gonna blend into you, and you want to have a good environment, somewhere comfortable with. Three, a trip sitter, preferably someone who's done this before, knows how it is, knows how to keep a good trip, and if it goes negative, knows how to keep it positive. Somebody to take care of you if anything happens. Somebody you're comfortable crying in front of. Somebody you're comfortable expressing yourself fully with. Okay? Could be a friend, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, doesn't matter. Somebody you're comfortable with. Okay? And then number four, surrender to it. Just let it do its thing, just surrender. Don't resist whatever's coming up in you while you're tripping. And remember, the trip is not gonna last forever if it's too overwhelming. Number five, dosage. Start on the lower end. If you do mushrooms, do 1.5 to 2 in between that. If you're doing LSD and the tab is 100 micrograms or 125, half a tab sounds about right for the first time, right? And then you can work your way up there. So, happy tripping, everyone who's done it, who will do it. Like I said, always practice responsible use, right? The responsible use, guys. We're trying to raise the awareness around the stigma around psychedelics, and we need to be practicing the use of psychedelics responsibly, like our ancestors did. Because our ancestors, they practiced this responsibly. They were very responsible about it, and they did it in ceremonial type environments where it was sort of an initiation. It would always be like it would be like an initiation that you go through, and they were very respected, these psychedelics. So they're not to be fucked around. They're not to be taken lightly, and in my opinion, they're not to be done recreationally. They're to be done for learning purposes. So hopefully this video helps you guys. Any more questions or any videos you want me to do, I would love to talk about this. I love this topic. As you guys can see, my life has turned upside down because of psychedelics. Once again, towards the end of the video, how you doing, bro? Towards the end of the video, again, disclaimer, I do not endorse the use of any psychoactive substances, legal or illegal. Do it on your own terms, do your own research. If you're gonna do it anyway, this video is trying to be more informative, okay? So that's it. Check out my book, 5 Powerful Habits to Dominate Life Inside and Outside the Gym. It's for free, 22 powerful pages that will help you in all areas of your life. Just download it. Just trust me, it's a good shit, okay? But no, I don't talk about psychedelics in it, but it'll put you in a good mindset before a trip. So yeah, 5 Powerful Habits to Dominate Life in all areas. Link in description, comments. Other than that, I love you guys, every single one of you. Remember the message and embody it. One family, one heart, one love. All of us together building this new society based on love. Love every single one of you, but don't forget to subscribe or you're gonna sleep with the fishes.